Hey!
Hey, hi.
Welcome to the Natasha and Debbie show.
Hello.
That's brutal. Just two patriotic girls, so please don't take us the wrong way.
Hi.
Hey everybody.
Welcome to the Natasha and Debbie show.
Lovely to have you with us today, and welcome to October.
Here it is, falls upon us.
We're a few days in, of course, but this is a happy month for us because I know you're going to be like, wait, you have another anniversary? And in fact, yes, we do. We just had our wedding anniversary in July, but on the 19th of this month.
That's right. We celebrate the day that we started dating. So it's going to be 19 years on the 19th.
Which is pretty cool.
That is.
Yeah.
Happy early anniversary.
Happy early anniversary. Go team. This is inappropriate for this video. If you guys like the content we provide, please hit the like button. Consider subscribing to the channel, but don't do that if you're going to like fast forward through all the stuff and like watch one video and then forget we exist. Yeah. Make sure you turn on that notification bell too so you actually get notified when we upload. Mm-hmm. We also have a little announcement. This Friday, we're doing a bonus Friday episode.
Yay, bonus Friday. I love those.
And this is one this was a video we were going to do prior to, unfortunately, Tyson being sick and passing away. So it's been on hold for a while, but I have been wanting to do this video on Friday for a very long time. So please make sure you check it out on Friday. We'll be back Friday. And then, of course, back on Sunday. I have a football team now. Liverpool! Go Liverpool. I don't know anything about Liverpool. Thank you to Mr. Ian Farnsworth. He sent the jersey to us. And again, if you don't like Liverpool, here's what I have to say about that. I didn't pick the team picked me.
That's right. She was sent the shirt, and that's who we support.
Yeah, so if you have a team you like, I will be happy to accept your shirt and wear it. Men's size small. Hey, my birthday's next month, too. And Debbie's got the England shirt going.
England.
Yeah, rocking that. So we'll see. But this video we were sent, we're told, is a lot of information. We know how much about football.
Very little. We only know Ted Lasso.
Which is the best show ever.
And, of course, our own American soccer.
Well, besides American football.
But that doesn't count.
No, that we don't know anything about football that's not American. So we're going to try to learn about this. We were told this is a lot of information. And I know that in the comments, there was supposed to be a part 2 to this video. We looked, there is not one. So what we get's what we get. So there's a lot to learn, and we're going to do our first time ever learning anything about the teams in the UK, which football club represents each UK area. So let's find out about it, and I'm sure we'll have questions because we really have no knowledge of any of this. So let's dive in.
This is going to be a very interesting video. The United Kingdom is a very large and diverse area of massive land. In that massive land, there's a lot of football teams, and there's a lot of football teams separated into separate areas. We have Birmingham, Manchester, Lancashire, South Coast, North East, Glasgow, Edinburgh, Wales, East Anglia. There's a lot of places which a lot of fans like to say they represent that one area. London is white, red, blue. Manchester's blue or red. Liverpool's blue or red. So I've gone out my way to research every single football team which has got a single debate to be in that representation of that area. This is a long video that took me a long time to research these actual teams. So in context, I'm a Burnley fan. I have no preferences towards any other team other than Burnley. So I'm thinking over the Lancashire argument is going to come from. But feel free and play along, then comment down below, you know, what is which area. Those 18 areas is Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool, London, South Coast, East Anglia, South West, Wales, North East, South East, Bristol, Glasgow, Edinburgh, Sheffield, Lancashire, Yorkshire, East Midlands, and a Black Country. And I've separated.
How many freaking teams are over there?
Wow.
I'm sorry, I'm just like.
That's a lot of teams.
And I don't think that's all. I'm pretty sure that he didn't mention a lot of the ones I've heard before.
Yeah.
So how many freaking teams do you guys have? Good Lord. It's like more than the NFL teams here.
Right?
I don't know. But
it's a lot to follow. I'm glad he did the research for us.
Yeah, because I was never doing that. No. Wouldn't have any idea how. Okay.
Wouldn't know where to start.
I'm already like, the kids, there's a lot, but let's keep going. But he said Liverpool twice.
Rated each club and which one do I think is the biggest and represents that area based on 4, maybe even 5 things. And that is, number 1 is the honours in England. So how many FA Cups, how many First Divisions, how many League Cups have they actually acquired. Number 2 is in fact the actual derby or the actual rivalry between the 2 teams or 3 teams in question. What's the record? So who's beat the other team the most? You know, it's about 5 wins, 2 wins, 10 wins, maybe even 30 wins. Number 3 is European. So how many European Cups or UEFA Cups or UEFA Cups Champions Cups? That's another thing as well from back in the day. And also, how dominant were they in Europe? How often were they in Europe? What teams did they face and what teams did they play against? What team did they beat? So like Barcelona, Real Madrid, Juventus, Bayern Munich, these sort of teams which are always like at a top tier, have they beat them once or twice? Number 4, I've got to keep it into consideration in recent years. So how dominant are they in their area in the last 10, 15, 20, 25 years? So not the last 5 years. So I'm not using recency bias as this or just history. I'm using a accumulation of both as a tide turned in terms of that area, who's the biggest club. Because it's all well and good winning like all your first division trophies in, you know, 1890 and 1900s. If you've won nothing since then can I really count you as still repping that area if you've done nothing in about 100 years? So hopefully you guys do understand the thought process.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah. He definitely researched the crap out of this.
He did.
I didn't know he was going to be doing this into like, I guess the title was a little misleading on which football club represents each UK area. Not so much. It's which ones he went off of a bunch of different criteria.
Yeah.
But, and I'm not sure what teams he's showing. So that means they may not even be in here.
May not be, but he did mention them twice.
Something. But no, one thing he didn't mention that I would think he would put in, I would want to see put in, is the fan base.
Yeah, I would think that would be huge.
I mean, I would say so too. I mean, there's teams like we have a lovely subscriber who has become a friend who lives in Wrexham.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we've been watching the Welcome to Wrexham show, which has been awesome. Oh my gosh, I want one of those football scarves so bad. Yep. Debbie knows I love wearing scarves.
Birthday next month.
Stop it. You know I love wearing scarves in the wintertime,
yes,
but I've seen the different scarves from the different football teams, and I'm like, those are so freaking cool.
It is pretty cool.
But yeah, but Wrexham, I know they're not even the Premier League. I know that much, and that's the top, right? That's about it. That's all I know. I know they're in a different league, like down, but their fan base is huge, right? So I guess they're definitely not going to be in here.
Yeah, diehard fans.
Yeah, but anyway, sorry. There's a lot of stuff here that I might have questions for, but so let's go. Let's get on it.
I'm gonna try and go through this as fast and as simple as possible.
Please make it simple.
So, with that said, let's go. Birmingham. Of course, there's only 2 teams in Birmingham that can be put a good shout for this, and of course, that's Aston Villa and Birmingham City. Now, Aston Villa has got 7 First Divisions, 7 FA Cups, 5 League Cups, and 1 Champions League. They've also beat the Blues 19 times more in their entire history, and have been above Birmingham City in league finishers in every single season in the last 40 years, other than 1 season. That's a very, very big stat. I think only 1 season, or maybe even 2 seasons, Birmingham City in the last 40 years.
So we don't know what any of these awards are when he says the cup, this, that.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't know.
We know none of this. There is a video we could do if you guys want us to. It's kind of a long video on learning football there.
The leagues.
For Americans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
let us know if you want us to do that.
As actually finish above them. But when it comes to the Blues, Birmingham City, their highest ever league trophy is Division 2. They've won no FA Cups, but they've won 2 League Cups. So, that's something. So, Birmingham is quite obviously my easiest area. I mean, a Champions League is not just enough, but the First Division trophy.
We love our Brummies.
They've beaten them 19 more times in history. It's easier to say that Birmingham is claret and blue. The North East. Again, just like most areas, only 2 teams can actually be given a shout for representing the North East. And this is very, very close. And this is quite...
Is Newcastle one of them?
We'll find out.
Because we have our friend Michael over on our Facebook page. He's a subscriber, and they were supposed to come play here in Ohio, here in Cincinnati this past summer, but that got canceled last minute. Debbie and I were going to go see them, but I hope they are.
Tight. And if you look into it, there's a lot behind this than you actually think. The North East is of course shared by Sunderland and Newcastle United. Now in the both head-to-head history between Newcastle and Sunderland, they're actually drawing on wins. So both are sharing the wins in the Tyne-Wear derby. Fun fact that you need to know, Sunderland is in fact the only team, unlike Newcastle, to have actually dropped into the 3rd division of football. the more you know. But Sunderland is actually quite a very well-honoured team. They've actually won 6 First Division trophies in the 1890s, and latest win was in 1936. They've won 2 FA Cups, and in Europe, their only thing which I can gather is that they made it to the second round of the European Cup, but got knocked out by Sporting Lisbon. Now let's compare that to Newcastle. Newcastle has got 4 First Division trophies, 6 FA Cups. They've beat Barcelona, they've beat Juventus, they've beat Inter Milan, and was in Europe for many years in the 90s and 2000s.
Okay.
If you actually look back, they had many appearances in the UEFA Cup and even the Champions League. So it's really tough to pick Sunderland and Newcastle because Sunderland has got more trophies.
That's very confusing.
Well, just because we don't know, like, what anything he just said meant. Not anything. What confused you there?
Everything. A little slow.
I think we do need to learn football, as explained in like by an American.
I have a hard time with the jerseys. Like I want.
They say tops or
Top.
kits or kits.
Okay.
What's that have to do with this though?
I don't know.
No, I'm just
Because
asking.
I don't know what team I'm looking at. Because I need it like just written down their shirt. Like, hey, it's England.
Yeah, like instead of having like the sponsorship.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying because here any of our teams
Or at
have
least on the shoulder. Or
the
something.
name.
A little bit easier to distinguish, but I'm sure you guys know what they are.
LFC is Liverpool Football Club. I hope that's right.
Sounds all right.
In terms of first divisions, 2 more of them. However, in Europe, they've got no real pedigree because most of their success was very early on in their history. But in recent years, of course, they've been down below. But of course, they were in Premier League for a long period of time. So Sunderland has got the most trophies in England. However, Newcastle has by far done better in Europe than Sunderland. And also, a large portion of their history has been in the top flight and second division. Newcastle United has spent more time of their entire history in the top division than Sunderland. If you look at both these graphs here, you can see that Sunderland has definitely been dipped more into the second division and also third division
way
more
back.
times than Newcastle in their entire history. So if I'm comparing Europe and the better side in recent years, in theory of actually doing something compared to trophies in the very early days of football, I'm going to say Newcastle here, boys. It's very close and both are good teams and both are proper teams, but I'm going to say North East is black and white. The South Coast. Is the South Coast blue and yellow or red and white? So, the South Coast only represents really Southampton and Portsmouth. So let's talk to you about Southampton. So Southampton, their major honour is the FA Cup. Only one FA Cup. They've never won the first division. In a derby between Portsmouth and Southampton, Portsmouth has actually won them more times head to head. But one thing to keep in mind about Southampton is that actually since 1977, over the 7 years of that entire period till today, they've been in top flight. So 7 years out of that, they was out of top flight. Rest of the years, since 1977, they've been up there. So they've always been in the top flight football in recent years. So what about Portsmouth? Well, Portsmouth are in fact 2 First Division champions and of course 2 FA Cup champions.
So I'm going for Portsmouth. Because there's a Portsmouth, Ohio that isn't that far from here, and I have family there. So, sorry, that's what I'm going for over these 2. Let's see who he picks.
So in terms of major honours, they definitely are beating Southampton and that. In Europe, Portsmouth are well known for almost beating AC Milan at Fratton Park back in 2008. Southampton has been in Europe many times, even in last recent years, beating Inter at St Mary's 2-1. Back in the 80s, they were in Europe quite often in the UEFA Cup and also in the European Cup Winners' Cup, so otherwise known as the Europa League as what it is nowadays. And the furthest they went was...
How many leagues are there?
Good question.
The quarterfinals against Anderlecht and got knocked out. So again, this one is tough because Portsmouth has got more honours in terms of England, but in terms of Europe, Southampton's definitely been the more prominent. And if we want to compare the recent years, well, Southampton has been in top flight a lot more often in the last, 50, 60, 70 odd years than Portsmouth. Since the 1950s, Portsmouth has been in top flight for about shy of 10 years. But for Southampton, they've been in top flight, for about 30 odd years, 40 years in that, since 1950. So it's tough to say, because major honours is major honours, and in fact Portsmouth won their recent one in 2008 in the FA Cup when they beat Cardiff. So it kind of depends on which side you want to go on it, if it's based on just major honours or if it's based on Europe and recent years and how often are you in the first division compared to the other team. But the one thing that's put the nail in the coffin here is that Portsmouth has been in the 4th division of football twice, not just recently but also back in like the 90s. So for that reason, Southampton's never been in the 4th division, so I'm gonna say I'm going to say Southampton. The
Whatever.
South Coast is red and white. Manchester.
red.
Is Manchester red or blue? So this is a very,
just did a
very
video on
popular one.
Manchester.
And for me, this is the most simplest. Like, even more simple than Birmingham. Manchester United or Manchester City? Manchester United, 20 Premier Leagues, first divisions.
Wow.
12 FA Cups, 3 Champions Leagues. Also beating Manchester City 21 more times head-to-head in their entire history.
Crap.
While City has also won 6 Premier Leagues and 6 FA Cups and also 1 UEFA Cup trophy, City are the only team to go into the third tier of English football. United has never dropped down that low.
Which team started first? Or which one's older? Manchester United or Manchester City?
I don't know. Maybe they're the same age since they both go back to 1892.
Or is that just where he's going with his graph? I don't know. That's why I'm asking. You hear about Manchester United even here in the States.
Mhm.
That's the only team I've ever actually heard of. Had you heard of them?
No.
Okay. So I've heard about them, but never hear about Manchester City. So this is actually very interesting to me.
Never dropped down that low. In Europe, of course, United is better. In terms of honours, United is better. And recent years, of course, since last 10 years, City has probably been above them. But
Really?
it's only really been in the last 10 years that they've been like above them.
Yeah.
And I can't compare 10 years of, last 10 years to an entire history of football. I'm sorry, City fans, but it's Manchester's red. You can't erase over
I knew he was
100
going to say
years of
that, though,
history
didn't you?
and
Yeah.
Premier League title wins and dominant years in the last recent years, in 2000s and that. Oh, City, if they keep this up for like another 20 odd years, then maybe I'll say Manchester's blue. But right now, it is 100% red.
Okay.
Sheffield. Is Sheffield red and white
happening
or
there?
blue and white? So of course, this is comparing Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday. Both two great teams, both two old-fashioned teams, and I think they're two proper clubs, so I respect them both. But let's start digging into a bit of their history. Sheffield United is actually ahead by 4 wins. They've beat Wednesday. Sheffield United has got 1 First Division trophy in 1898.
Wow.
They've got 4 FA Cups, and Sheffield United is in fact the only team out of the 2 to play in Division 4. And from what I can gather, Sheffield United's got no history in Europe as well. So sadly, I can't use Europe as
know where
a
we're going
point
with
for
this one.
Sheffield United. Now let's talk about Sheffield Wednesday. 4 First Division trophies, 3 FA Cups,
like the
1
colours.
League Cup, and have beat Barcelona and Roma in the European Cups. Weirdly enough, if you look at their graphs in terms of where they've been in football, like in the history, they've both had very similar rises and downs. In terms of who's been in top division most often, I would say it's actually Sheffield United in their early years. However, in the last like 30 odd years, Wednesday that's been in there more often than not. I'm going to say that Sheffield is blue and white. More major honours in England, more European
I like blue and
pedigree,
white.
and in recent years, they've been quite similar. United's doing the best of the team right now, but how long would that last? Well, if they make it to Europe this year, you never know. As of right now, I'm going to say Sheffield is blue and white.
Okay.
Liverpool. Of course, between Liverpool and Everton.
We're on Liverpool. He brought it up after all. Yes.
We'll have to see how they rank in his criteria.
Oh, I already know. I mean, I don't know who this is going against, but okay, I'm getting more of this than I thought I would, but a lot of it's still
Seems like each area has 2 teams.
well, no. Remember, he has the criteria. He just said he was going to do 2 teams per area. But again, you lose me when you talk about the different awards, and I'm just going to say awards, cups and things that you win. I don't know what any of those mean. I do understand a little bit of the whole relegation thing from watching Ted Lasso.
Okay.
And of course the Welcome to Wrexham show we've been watching. And I understand that a little bit. I don't remember any of it. I don't know how it works really, but I know that and that's just something we don't have here. In any of our sports. You don't go down in leagues. So it's a very, pardon the pun, foreign concept to us.
That it is.
But this is incredibly informative. Let us know in the comments who's your favorite team. Let's see what's going on with Liverpool. Who are they going to go against? You guys know. We don't.
Who reps the area, and again, just like Manchester, it's kind of unfair to compare them to. Everton is a proper club, and by no means should they be disrespected. Got 9 First Divisions, they've got 5 FA Cups and 1 UEFA Cup. Compare them to most teams in most areas, which we're going to talk about, they will be up there, pretty much repping the entire area. But it's a shame that their neighbours, Liverpool, is just a bit bigger. Liverpool, 18 First Division, 7 FA Cups, 8 League Cups, 6 Champions Leagues, and have, in fact, in a head-to-head, beat Everton 29 more times in history.
yeah.
That's big. That's massive. So I'm not going to waste too much time on this.
And you know why?
Liverpool and
You know why that happened? Because you'll never walk alone. Yeah, that's right. Liverpool for the win. Thank you, Ian, for not sending me a team that sucks.
Everton are a big club, and they will be repping more series in the country. But in terms of Liverpool, is sadly non-comparable. So for Liverpool, it's most definitely red. East Anglia. East Anglia got two main teams, Norwich City and Ipswich Town.
Oh, really?
So at first thought, most people I saw on Twitter say that it is in fact yellow and green, which I kind of thought that way in the last couple of years because Ipswich has been quite, you know, a mediocre championship club until they went down last year and they are now League One. But
this
then
video
I in
is
fact
2
looked
years old, by the
into
way.
the history of both teams. So head to head between Ipswich and Norwich, Ipswich has in fact won the most games in a derby, and they've also won the first division, and they've also beat Barcelona, Real Madrid, AC Milan, Inter Milan, and in fact have won a European Cup and a FA Cup. Granted, that European Cup was the UEFA Cup and not the actual European Cup. It's still a European trophy. That's some pretty good European pedigree, beating Barcelona, Real Madrid, and AC Milan and Inter Milan. That is definitely not easy to do. But comparing that to Norwich, when Norwich, their only honours in England is 2 League Cups.
Oh, wow.
They've actually never won the first division ever in their history. So in recent years, you may say that Norwich has beat them more in the derby, but in terms of the entire history of the entire clubs...
Okay, sorry, question. We're going to have questions. We're almost done with the video, but you keep saying derby. I know you pronounce that differently than we pronounce it as derby.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean over there? What does that have? What is that?
Yeah.
In football terms? I don't know what that means. Do you?
Nope.
But he said it several times, and I'm like, what is that? This may have been a bit above our pay grade to start with this video, but
It's
it
a good place
is
to start.
But it is helpful though, because I had no idea how many teams were in the United Kingdom, right?
Mhm.
And I know this, like I said, we know this is condensed for what his criteria was to show us, and it is interesting. And I am trying to follow along as best I can. I see what his criteria is. I don't know the teams, but based off what he's saying and wins and losses and what they've done, I agree so far. Again, that's just my 2 cents on it. But I do want to know, what is the most popular team in the United Kingdom? My guess is Manchester United. Because like I said, I know that's known even here in the States. But what is the most popular team of the entire United Kingdom? Let us know. What's the most hated team, too? Don't you dare say Liverpool.
Norwich definitely is the better team. You could say that in recent years it's been Norwich, and you have a good point for that. Of course, since 2000s, Norwich has typically been above Ipswich. But if you're comparing head-to-head and also major honours and also European pedigree, I've got to say it's Ipswich. So I would say East Anglia is blue and white.
Well, I will say this about Ipswich. It's a beautiful place. We have one of our patrons that lives there, and I've gotten to see it a little bit. We've gotten to see it a little bit. It's beautiful. I didn't know there was a football team. Is there a football team in like every city?
Seems to be.
I just want to learn more and more about this. I want to become a football fan.
Wales blue or white.
Okay,
the only
Wales.
2 teams really has a shout of being, you know, represented Wales, and that's in fact Cardiff and Swansea City. There's of course teams like Newport County, but I don't think they can be put into consideration. But I'll put your name in because I like you guys, I like your colours. Cardiff has won 1 FA Cup in the history, and the highest trophy they've won in the league is the 2nd Division trophy. Head to head, Cardiff has won the most in a Southwest derby. It was in fact runners-up in Division 1 at one stage. They almost won Division 1, when in fact the closest Swansea came was in fact 6th place in the 1st Division in their history. And also Cardiff in Europe has in fact beat Real Madrid in 1970. So they do have a bit of European pedigree. Now let's compare them to Swansea City. The biggest league trophy Swansea's ever won is the 3rd Division, but they've won that 3 times in fact in history. They've won 1 League Cup in recent years, and they in fact went to the round of 32 in the Europa League very recently, but got knocked out by Napoli. So Swansea has definitely been in Europe much more recently, and as well, keep in mind that Swansea has probably been in the Premier League more often than not in also recent years. Comparing both teams in terms of history of where they've been in the league, Swansea and Cardiff has both been in Division 4. But I'd say that Swansea has been in Division 4 more often than Cardiff. Keep in mind that even in the early 2000s, they was in League 1 and League 2. And keep in mind that before 2010, Swansea has not been in the Premier League at all for the entire history, other than about 2, 3 seasons in the early 1980s. So comparing that to Cardiff, they have spent maybe more time in the top flights, but they were very early on in their history. And you could say in recent years that Swansea has been the main team in Wales in the Premier League as well. So again, it is tough on Cardiff with more major honours, when in fact you could say they've got more European pedigree, beating Real Madrid in 1970, but Swansea's been in there more recently, and they've made it to the round of 32. In the last 20 years, it has been Swansea. You're flying the flag flag for Wales. But Cardiff has won the most head-to-head. This one's tough, so you can go your own way on this one, on which side you think it is. If I'm going to think that, since I've been growing up, which team is, the Welsh team, which team reps Wales, I'm going to say that Wales is...
Cardiff.
I'm going to annoy someone if I'm saying this. I'm going to annoy someone. I'm going to say that Wales is white. And that's just based on recent history. Cardiff has definitely got some pedigree, but in terms of European glory in the last couple of years as well, they've been up there. So unless if Cardiff goes back up to Premier League and they stay there for a few more years, I'll say it's them. But as of right now, I'm going to have to say Swansea.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming. Okay, and that's it. Lots of things learned. You guys agree with his criteria. I think the only thing that I would have added in there would be the fan base. But maybe that, it doesn't have anything to do with the play. I get it. It doesn't.
No.
So maybe not. Maybe I take that back. I did learn a lot about the teams that he did mention. I know there's a lot more teams that were not put in this video. Again, let us know your favorite team. But I asked before, what is the most popular team in the UK? Also, who's the most winningest of all teams in the UK currently? And if you didn't hear me say it in the middle of the video, this video was 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
And then in the world, who is the best team?
Isn't that what the World Cup determines?
I have no idea. Why are you asking me?
I don't know. I felt like watching that, like listening to him, I would feel like he's going to go one way, and at the end, he'd like
kind of go the different.
Turn to go with the other team. And I'm
sometimes he surprised me because I'm like hearing again. We don't know what these cups mean. We know what they mean. They mean that they won something good, but we don't know the specifics of what they are. But I'm hearing like all these boom 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 accolades, and then he's like, oh yeah, and then this guy. But most of the time he didn't. Most of the time he stuck with it. But I thought that was incredibly well done. The guy did his research, and that took a lot of time. If you guys like that, please hit the like button. I really did enjoy it. Consider subscribing too. I did enjoy it. I wish I knew more before going into this. So again, in the comments, let us know if you'd like us to go watch this video. It's I think it's like a half hour long.
Yeah,
and it explains football to us Americans. There's a lot to learn here. This was our very first look really into your football. So there's a lot to learn.
So that was just really informative about all the teams that he listed there.
Yeah.
A lot of their background, their history.
And we know we did not list most. There's so many more teams. We know that. But anyway, I had fun with it. There's so much we now know that we don't know. Let us know where to go from here in our football education.
That would be great.
Yeah.
We can't wait to hear from you.
So again, don't forget, special bonus Friday episode. Make sure you're here for that. Tune in. It's a video I wanted to do months ago. It's a different, totally different thing. But it's something I've had a strong interest in. Debbie knows this.
It'll be a good one to watch.
I'm very excited about it. So guys, thanks so much for being here. We appreciate you. Hope you enjoyed it and you have a great rest of your day, and we will see you on Friday. Thank you so much. Don't forget though, love like jazz.
Be as strong as Tyson.
Bye guys.
Bye.